We're here with 2-week-old Labradoodle puppies, and this is their litter update. Hi, I'm Claire from Van Isle Doodles, and today's video is the Southern Neighbor litter of Labradoodle puppies. And today we're going to be doing the litter update for all of these puppies. So we're going to tell you a little bit about each of the individual puppies, what they've been up to over the past week, their weight changes. We'll give you a little bit of an update of information on their mama Labradoodle Lainey, and we'll also tell you a little bit about the litter as a whole. So starting with Lainey, she is doing just fine. We moved the puppies this week, and that's always a big change for the moms. So we had 3 litters all within a few days of one another. So in our regular maternity ward, we had 2 litters, and here in our studio was where Austin and her puppies were having their maternity ward. Now, MJ's litter, those puppies are all old enough now. Their eyes are open, their ears are open. They're all walking and they can control their temperature quite well. They're doing quite nicely. So they have moved out to the nursery, which is in our doodle den. So that made a spot available for Austin and her little Labradoodle puppies. So we moved her in there. So she's now bunking in there with Holly. So Holly has mini Labradoodle puppies and Austin has medium Labradoodle puppies. And they're separated. They have a very high X-pen fence between the 2 of them, 2 separate entrances, and there is a divider that's solid between them so they can't even see one another. They of course know one another's in there. They can hear each other and each other's puppies, but they are completely separated for safety reasons. But now she's got some company, and that's helped her to feel a little bit more included in everything. And also in that maternity room, we have glass doors, so she's able to see everything that's going on in the household, and she's able to hear things a bit more too. So again, she feels a little bit more that she's part of the general family atmosphere. So Austin continues to eat well. We've been working on grooming her. Taylor has been spending some time, because poor Austin and me, we didn't get to have our hair done before COVID. And so both of us have really long, messy hair. And Austin had quite a few mats because she wasn't able to have a grooming appointment. So Taylor's been working away diligently to try and comb most of those out and make Austin feel a little bit more comfortable. And while she's lying here right now, you can take a little glimpse at the tiny little bit of white tips she has on her tail, which is one of the trademarks of most of the puppies in her litter. Copper's white tip is more just about the whole last 4 or 5 inches of his tail, and Austin's is a little bit more subtle. She wants to show you her best side there, so she's moved around. So she's back where her puppies were originally. So when we move them back after the video, we'll make sure that she's comfortable and recognizes that none of her puppies have been left behind. So that's Austin, and for the litter as a whole, they had no problems at all with the move. They didn't even notice that they changed spots. All they worry about is mom nearby? Is there lots of warmth? Is there lots of nourishment? And am I safe? And so of course none of that changed, so they've all been doing fine. They've all had to have their collars loosened because they have grown quite a bit, and we've cut their nails several times, and I have my clippers with me here today, and we just use regular people clippers when they're this young, and I'll show you a little bit about how we clip the nails on the puppies so you get an idea of just how easy it is when you have young puppies. So now let's go through each of the puppies, and we'll do it as always in their birth order. And they've all just found themselves a spot at the milk bar, so they're all going to be mad at me as usual because I'm going to take them off, except for the ones that are still searching here. And the purple collar is the first puppy in this litter, and I think I got the right puppy here. Yep, I do. Oh, I just have to do a lot of convincing there. So we don't ever like to just yank them off. We like to just do this gradually and let them agree. There we go. Purple collar is our little girl. She's a red girl. Oh, there's somebody at our door, so our other dogs are not locking, barking, so Austin's going to put her alarm out too. So Purple Collar Girl is the firstborn dog in this litter, and she's a female, and she's a red and white girl. So she's got this pretty little tiny bit of red on the top of her head. And she's got red on her chin with her little goatee, under her neck, down her tummy area there. And then she has quite a bit of nice white markings on her paws. So she's an abstract. So we'll show you what we do when we cut their claws with this little girl. And all we do is each of their claws have a little hook, a little groove where the nail grows over, where is the appropriate part to cut the nail off. And it's the same as your nail. The white part is dead and the color part is alive. So it's great if your dog happens to have white nails, but if they have black nails, it's a little harder to find the spot. But it's really easy to do once you get used to it a few times, just by feel. You don't even have to look to see what you're doing, because you can feel it with the clippers that you're in the right spot, because you just go up to where you feel that little groove and just do a little quick taking them off there. Now when they're this little, I don't worry about taking off their hind claws. It helps them to have a little bit more traction on the surface of the whelping box when they're trying to get to mom. And you probably were hoping, as we were, that with this video we would have a big announcement and tell you that these little Labradoodles had opened their eyes. But they haven't. So sometimes they open them before 2 weeks, sometimes they open them after 2 weeks, and you just never know what it is that's going to happen. So these guys just aren't quite ready. There's a couple of little slits showing here and there, but no actual eyes yet. And Purple Collar Girl, she's now weighing 595 grams. So that's a nice weight. She started off when she was born, she weighed 270 grams. So she's more than doubled her birth weight, which is all that we can ask. That's just great. She's doing well. She's nice and a solid girl. She's quite chunky. So that's Purple. Oh, and you see little Red was saying, oh no, Mom, don't leave. Makes it easier for us though. So we'll go right away to Dark Blue, since Austin's decided she's had enough of that feeding part of the day. And Dark Blue is our little red boy. And his eyes, you can see this eye here is just starting to open. So likely tomorrow we'll see quite a few of the eyes opening, and for sure when we do next week's video, they'll all have eyes to show you. Hey, Mr. Blue. So Blue is also a red puppy. Blue does not have as much of the white, but he does have some nice white on his tummy, and he has those 2 toes there. And Blue's going to be fairly much like Copper. He's going to have some nice little curls. You can see those coming already with all those squiggles there that you can see in Mr. Blue's coat. Hi, sweetie. Hi. Hello. Well, he says, I'm just going to try your nose. Maybe there's something to eat there. And Blue is weighing in at 535 grams. So just a little bit smaller than his sister Purple there. Yeah, your mom's gone. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. There's lots of complaining. You go over there and sit with your litter mates. And the next puppy that was born is Red Collar. And Red Collar is right here. Hello, sweetheart. They still can't hear either, but of course I am still talking to them. Red Collar is a little girl, and she is also red. She's a red girl with a red collar, and you can just see her right eye as well is showing a good amount of slit. And this one here, her left eye, just a tiny little bit of slit. So those eyes will probably be open within the next 24, 48 hours. And Miss Red Collar, she has those beautiful little white dipped toes in the back, and she has lots of pretty white on her chest there. Otherwise, she's a nice, solid, really pretty color. And she too, you can see from the waviness in her coat there, from the striations, that she too is going to have some of her Daddy Copper's curls. So I think that when the curls come, they're all going to be really cute. She's not too interested in sitting too still right now. She can sense that Austin is just right in front of her and is thinking I'm keeping her from that milk bar. And you can see she has a really nice white tip on her tail, and this is the one, that kind of tip that's similar to what Daddy Copper has. And Red Collar Girl is 440 grams. She's the smallest girl in the litter, or she's the smallest puppy in the litter, And I think she's been the smallest ever since day one, if I remember rightly. Yes, she was just 208 grams when she was born. So she's always been the smallest, and she has remained the smallest each week. And whether that holds true right through to the end once they start eating independently, that remains to be seen. Quite often when they're smaller, they don't have the ability to get to the prime spots in the milk bar, and they often get pushed off by their litter mates. But when it comes time to start eating independently and they don't have so much competition, then they're able to catch up and sometimes even surpass their litter mates that they were previously smaller than. Next is brown collar. Brown collar is over here and looks like a giant monster compared to red. I know brown. Mr. Brown is our beautiful caramel party. Well, he may be a red party, I'm not too sure, because his nose looks like it's coming in to be black. And as we've talked about, the black leathers mean it's a red dog, and if they're brown leathers, it means it's a caramel. Oh my goodness, I don't want anybody looking at my feet today. No. Oh no, I'm just not in the mood to show anybody my feet. So we'll worry about whether he's a red caramel or a red dog a little later. You can see his eyes are not open, but again, a little bit of a slit in the right eye. Seem to be having a theme here that the right eye is opening before the left eye. And I can see that his nose is black, so he is a red and white party. Red and white party is a beautiful combination. And he has this nice bit of color on his back here. Really a very, very handsome fellow, this guy. He is also really nice and chunky. He has a really nice lab build. And you can see his head is broad, fairly square. And he has a nice short nose and a good strong stop. And the stop is where the nose meets the forehead. So all of those are things that we look for in the breed standard. If we're looking for a breeding quality dog, those are all the types of things that we assess, along, of course, with temperament and overall conformation. But they're just a little bit young yet for those two things. But we can get some idea of the sort of cosmetic aspects of them. And Mr. Brown Collar is 710 grams. So he's a bruiser. He's definitely not one of the tiny ones. There you go, Mr. Brown. Next is Orange Collar. Orange Collar is way over on the other side there. Now, Orange Collar, compared to Brown Collar, is much more curly. You can see already that Orange Collar's coat is starting to lift. And when I talk about their coats lifting, that's when their coat comes up from their body and it's not flat and smooth anymore. And when it's lifting this early and you see all these wrinkly dinklies coming on down here, and all the wrinkly dinklies up on the top of the head, then those are curls, as opposed to just loose waves. You're going to have a little curls, just like Daddy, right? Yeah. Orange is a little girl. And her nose is filling in black as well. So she's also a red and white party, just like her brother before her. And both of her eyes are actually slit open at about the same degree there. This little girl has the prettiest little ear. I just love how she has the white overlaid over top of the red. It's such a pretty little combination that's going to be really cute when she gets older. Hello, sweetheart. Yes. Oh, yes. And Miss Orange Collar is 616 grams. So she's right in the middle of the pack, aren't you? Yes, you're right in a good spot. Orange Collar has quite a voice. If Mom's not around, then we definitely hear from her. She and Brown Collar, it's interesting, the two parties are probably the two that talk the most in this litter, at least at this point in time. Next is Green Collar. Green Collar is right over here. Hi, sweetie. Hi. Green Collar is this really gorgeous dark red color. And Green is a girl. And she is our solid girl, if I remember rightly. I don't think she has white on her. Nope. She just has little tiny bits of white dipped on her toes there. And she has no white tip at the end of her tail. So she is a nice, beautiful, solid caramel girl. Very pretty girl. She too has, similar to Brown Collar, that nice blocky head, the short stubby nose, all the things that we look for as Labradoodle breeders. And she has a really hefty build to her. Very nice, solid girl. And she's 703 grams. So she's a really nice weight as well. Doing really well. She's quite a quiet girl too. We almost never hear from her. That could change though. Just because they're like that now does not mean necessarily that's how they're going to be forever. And you'll see on Green Collar here how straight her coat is. See how flat and smooth it is compared to Orange's. See how Orange's is picking up And it's not just because of her collar, because her collar is loose. It's lifting up here, here, and you can see on the top of, oh, wow, she says, don't be talking about me. And particularly you can see on the top of her head all these ridges and squiggles. Those are the curls. Whereas over here on green collar, you can see everything is smooth. There's just a little tiny hint of a squiggle here, and that's more what we see with waves. Same as on this puppy here on yellow collar, same thing, very soft, smooth coat. Next to it, a little bit of the wrinkly dinkly look, a little bit in the middle here, but you get the idea of what I'm talking about. These two puppies are going to have the straightest coats out of the litter. They're the smoothest and flattest coats at this point in time. So next we're going to take a look at Mr. Yellow Collar. Hi, buddy. Mr. Yellow Collar has a fairly straight coat, but you can see he does definitely have more of the squiggles that I'm talking about than green does. And you can see in particular he has those squiggles on the top of his head. Now Copper has quite a few curls on the top of his head. That's where he has the most curls. Whereas on his body it's more wavy like Austin's body. So this little fellow is sort of a mini-me of Copper, except for he has all these gorgeous white flash markings. So this is the little fellow that I call is wearing a nice suit, because he's almost a tuxedo, but he's not, doesn't have enough white to really be a tuxedo. So I just say he's wearing his nice suit. He's in his best suit. Yes, it's a new pattern for Labradoodles that I've made up, but it does apply. He has so much flash and it really is quite striking. He has a beautiful black nose. You can see it's almost totally filled in now. And his eyes are both getting on with things. He has them closed at the moment. But you can see, even though they're closed, at the side here, you can see there's a little bit of a slit there. And on this one too. I think his left eye is more open than his right eye. So maybe he's like me and a left-handed person. Eh? Are you a left-handed puppy? So he's got all these gorgeous white flashes, as I said. The big white blob on his head. The nice white around his face, his chin, all down his chest and stomach, and then on the tips of his paws. He's so tired he can't lift his head up. He needs me to hold his head up. And this puppy as well, he is a really nice, solid, blocky fellow, really substantial boy, and he's got that really pretty trademark Copper tip on his tail. This boy is put together really nicely. I really like his conformation and his build. And you'll see too, his ears are nicely high placed, which is another thing that we look for as breeders of Labradoodles, yes. And Mr. Yellow is the biggest puppy in the litter. He is 781 grams. And I'm just going to look back to his birth weight and see. He was not the biggest puppy born. He was the second biggest puppy born. Green Collar was actually the largest puppy born. And now Green Collar is the third largest puppy in the litter. And Mr. Yellow has taken over that title. I think that's because he's really starting to fill out. And like I said, he has a really beautiful, full, blocky build. Really nice puppy, that one. And Light Blue. Light Blue is our puppy without a collar. Light Blue lost the collar, and when I was replacing everyone's collars when I was loosening them, I didn't have another light blue one, so he ended up going without a collar. This puppy is a little doll. This is a cutie pie. Now this puppy has a really different build from Yellow. There's quite a huge difference in them. Now Yellow weighs 781 grams and Light Blue weighs 615 grams. So of course there's a weight difference. But if you look at their bodies, even just in my hands, you can tell this puppy's not quite as blocky as Yellow is. He's still very substantial, very sturdy, just a little less blocky and solid in his build at this point in time. And he has a little bit of weight to show us there, just a smidge, not very much. And he has some of those pretty curls on his head too. Not as much as some of the other ones, but he definitely has some. And you can see around his face, around his snout in particular, he has really, really nice, very dark red coloring. So he's going to be a really gorgeous shade of red, aren't you? That's going to be the most beautiful redhead. And Light Blue is 615 grams. So he's sort of pretty much right in the middle there. The smallest puppy, as I said, was red at 440 grams. And then Yellow is the biggest at 781 grams. So it's a fairly decent spread between them. So there we go. That's all of the puppies. And like I said, we didn't get to really see any eyes this week. So we're going to have to wait until next week. And maybe we'll see eyes open and ears open next week. It's possible. Holly's puppies are 3 weeks old tomorrow, and they have, except for 2, have their ears open. And their ears started opening about 3 or 4 days ago. So each puppy and each litter is different. It's nobody's behind. Because their eyes aren't open doesn't mean that they're slow or they've missed a milestone or something. Like I said, eyes open somewhere between day 10 and day 20, and same with the ears. They can open as early as about day 12ish through to about day 24. After that, then you would say they were a little bit later in getting their ears open. But they're all really happy and content. You can see that they are relaxed, they're calm, they're not squiggling around, they're not screeching for Austin. They're not at all concerned that Austin is sleeping outside of their bed there. And that is something that they're actually quite used to. Austin still gets up every morning between 4:30 and 5:30. Well, she gets up and starts barking to tell us that, hey, I'm ready. And that means we have to go get her. And she comes and sleeps in our bedroom. So when she comes in at, say, 5, she's in there for 2.5 hours sleeping with us before we usually have her out again when we get up. Sometimes we get up before that, but 7:30 is usually when we waken up. And so it's quite a long period of time for the puppies to be without her, but they're completely fine. Nobody cries, nobody's upset. So obviously Austin has her clock worked out that she tanks them all up just before then, and then she says, okay, I'm going to sleep in the bedroom now and have some me time. So those are all of our puppies from the Southern Neighbor litter. And I'm not sure if everybody knows why this litter is called Southern Neighbor, but it's because both Austin and Copper are from the U.S. We purchased Copper and we traded with another breeder for Austin. And why did we do that? Well, the reason we did that was because you want to be always adding fresh lines and genetics into your program. If you just keep using your own, unless you have hundreds of dogs, you're going to end up with everything having the same genetics, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for lots of genetic diversity. So we almost always buy our studs. Occasionally we retain studs of our own. From this litter, for example, it would make sense for us to retain a male if we had thought we would do that, because none of these dogs are related to any of our other dogs, because Copper and Austin are not related to any of our other dogs. So a boy from this litter would actually work for us. However, we have Copper, and there's really no point in replicating Copper. So we will be retaining a girl, we hope, out of this litter. But that's the reason why we bring in different dogs and different lines from different places. So that is your litter update for the Southern Neighbor medium Australian Labradoodle puppies. We really hoped you enjoyed the information today. Oh, you can see Orange is having really quite a wild up time there during his sleep. He's just really moving around there. If you have any questions, be sure to post them in the comments below. And don't hesitate to tell us which one you've fallen in love with already. I'm sure you'll change your selections multiple times, but don't hesitate to pick a favorite and let us know in the comments. And if you have a moment, give us a thumbs up. And we hope you're subscribed to our channel so that you know all of our new videos that are coming out each week. And thanks so much for watching.